This is an idea I've been moving around in my head for quite a bit here. So I'm just going to do a podcast of me building my reptile business from the ground up. This is From the Ground Up, the story of me starting my reptile business. Everyone's always looking, at bar check people like that saying, how did you start? How did you get there? And quite frankly, I'd like to have people along with me while I build mine. And I just think it's going to be something that, I could give people 10, 15 years down the line who ask me how I got there. And that may seem cocky, something like that, like I, know I'm going to succeed in all this type of stuff. But I think you need that cockiness to start a business. And it's not like I'm just starting. I'm not investing a whole lot of money. I don't have a whole lot of money to put into it right off the bat. I mean, you've seen those people who just come and invest a whole bunch of money. They have a whole bunch of money to put into it and, get out in a year or so. This is something I've been building for quite a while, and I just want to be as transparent as possible while doing that. And right now, I don't really have too many animals. I may have maybe about 16 or 17. I do have some Australian pythons, a couple carpet pythons, a diamond jungle, an olive python, a green tree python. Those are things I definitely just keep for fun. As far as I don't really plan on breeding them. It's not specific projects, but I do always get females first in case I do want to breed them. But really what I'm focusing on is lately I've been into hognose, as well as I've always had corns, but I probably won't go too deep into corns. So this is just going to be me building, probably a colubrid collection, probably getting that base level of, wholesale animals, pet quality animals. So what I want to do is have a base of that as far as my income, and then down the line invest more into maybe high quality morph projects, stuff like that. Since I don't have money to invest, I can't really go down, because it is a pyramid scheme. As far as if you're going to go down that road as far as morphs go, you're going to want to invest on the highest level you can to get your highest level return. It's not a bad idea to get maybe $1,000 animals, but the fact is that you want to invest as high as you can, and I just don't think I'm in the position to do that. I will share a little bit. I want to be as transparent as possible as far as sharing, how much money I'm making, what I'm spending. And so I did have a corporate job before this. I was a logistics broker where honestly I wasn't making much money. I was pretty miserable working long hours. And so I just quit that job, decided to do Postmates, which is basically a delivery service. And I end up making I could bring in anything from $500 to about $750, $800 a week, which may seem a lot to some people or not a lot to others. But the simple fact is it's enough for me to pay my rent, pay my car, all that stuff, and maybe have, $500 a month to invest as far as snakes go. But it does also give me the time to where I'm completely flexible. I can work whenever. So I think down the line, that's going to be one of the most important parts. So doing Postmates definitely frees that up for me. And then as far as the snakes go, right now I don't have many. So and right now all the colubrids are going to go down for brumation. So, clean once a week. Feed usually with the little hognoses. I'm trying to get, I have 3 that are 2 of them are on the cusp of breeding size. So I kind of want to keep them going every 3 days and try to get them up to size, and then maybe cycle them for very short, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. If it doesn't happen this year, it's not a big deal. I set myself up to where I don't have to depend on that at all. I am in a slow game as far as, I'm not trying to make money immediately. I've had snakes for a long time without making me any money. So I'm fine with that. Also, I want to be transparent about I did just bring a snake to the vet, and also how much I'm spending on food, how much I'm spending on snakes. I just kind of want to put all that stuff out there. I feel like that's one thing that people don't talk about at all, as far as, how much they're making or how much they're spending. And, I would just want to keep that on record and be able to share it with you guys. I also want to have, candid conversations with, say my girlfriend or my roommate, maybe even my parents. I may put on a phone call. But yeah, I did try this before, and it's not that I didn't succeed. It's that about 2 or 3 years ago, when I decided to make reptiles into a business, I did grow substantially, and I was doing ball pythons, which I think it is a good market, and it is fun, and they're pretty easy to breed. But the fact is that I was bringing in animals, and then I did have an animal get sick, and since I had brought in a bunch of animals in just a few months, I had them all quarantined together. So I ended up having, I racked up like $1,000 in vet bills, as well as, not being able to stop whatever was killing the animals, and the vet couldn't really pinpoint it. That's also something I think people don't talk about is, vet expense and, sicknesses that do happen. These are living animals. There's really no way to avoid that kind of stuff. So that's why the first time I kind of, got into a real lull, as far as I just spent all this money on animals, and I got really invested in taking care of them, stuff like that. And then they just started kind of dropping on me. And I really took a step back and thought about why I did everything, and, what to do in the future. Eventually, I did bounce back. I did produce the next year, and had some great animals, but it came to a point where the job I was at, the city I was living in upstate New York, and quite frankly, there just wasn't a job market there. The weather was terrible, and yeah, I just needed to go someplace and make a change. So I did sell a bunch of my animals, kept all my Australian stuff and some colubrids, and moved out to Colorado. And then from Boulder, Colorado, went to Denver, Colorado, and then eventually landed in Dallas. And that's where I am now. And I'm not sure if I'm going to move from here, but if I do make one more move, I mean, that's going to be it, as far as I'm not going to be moving any animals anymore. I don't want to move a whole bunch of animals very far. I just don't think it's a smart move on, a lot of fronts. But since I am getting serious here, I got to really think of that. My lease is up in August. I'm not sure if I would want a commercial space, if that's even financially viable, or, rent a house where I'm going to have more space. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about that, and I want to, every step of the way I will bring you guys along and give you an idea of what's going on. And I just want people to see, from the ground level, the dirt of everything, as far as, I'm not, it's easy to see, you look at these big breeders and then everyone asks how they got there. Well, I want to show you from the ground level how I'm going to get there. And I'm sure everyone does it differently, but I do want to show everyone that it is possible. As far as, any small business, any business venture, anything, show someone who has little to no money to invest. All I have is time and hard work. And I want to show exactly, that it is hard work also, as far as, but I'm willing to do everything I possibly could to make this happen for me, which I think is, the most valuable part. So that's really all I've got to say. That's my, it's going to be the first, just an overview of what's going on. Also, I will, probably the next episode, I will go into the vet bills and stuff and money I've spent on animals so far, just to kind of get an idea of what I'm getting into as far as rats, paying for food, paying for a surgery that I just had. It's not a surgery, but just some stitches that I needed for an animal, and I'll share some pictures and some pictures of the animal and what had to happen, and then also the expenses, stuff like that. So as I figure this thing out, I mean, I'm sure it'll get a little bit more tied down than this, than me just rambling into the microphone here. But otherwise, I mean, I am on Instagram, Facebook. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. And that's it. I'm Joe from Port City Pythons. I'm not sure if I'm going to change that name or not. I mean, I'm not going to be predominantly Pythons, but that is, I have built a following, as far as not a very big one, on Instagram and Facebook. And I don't know if I want to start over again. If it really matters what the name is, I'm not sure. If you guys could give me some feedback on that, that'd be great. Otherwise, this is my first episode, and thank you guys for listening in, and more to come.